I'm Dusty Jordan. I've lived in Hickman County for 43 years. I have a bachelor's degree from University of North Alabama. I have a master's, except for my thesis, from Arkansas State University. I have worked in private sector 43 years for 4 different companies, and each of those companies I've grown. My first job out of graduate school was working for a company that sold lawnmowers and bicycles. My first job in that company was in customer service to call Walmart. Most people didn't know Walmart existed because they didn't have any stores this side of the Mississippi. And I called at 3 o'clock every day, talked to the bicycle buyer, then the lawnmower buyer, took care of their problems by the next day. It was, that was part of my duties. Occasionally I'd have a gentleman answer the phone, his name was Sam. I thought he was an assistant buyer. After a couple of months, I found out it was Sam Walton. And that was in 1978, and Sam and I had a very good working relationship until he passed away in 92. So, I've dealt with folks like Sam Walton, like Joe Scarlett or Tom Hennessy, who are two of the founders of Tractor Supply. I've been successful in selling product and/or services to all the outdoor power equipment industry, every major retail and home improvement store, every manufacturer of appliances except for GE. GE was notorious back then for not paying their bills on time, so never went after them. Sold product and/or services to every major automotive manufacturer in the U.S., including German and South Korean companies. Have like I said, been successful, and I've always grown those companies, and have had good relationships with the customers and the buyers, the different people I dealt with. I still have some of my customers calling me that I haven't called on professionally for years, just see how I'm doing. So I've got that, that kind of relationship, and I always built those relationships, and that's what I intend to do as mayor, is to have a relationship with the people of Hickman County and those that can help us here in Hickman County. I've been a county commissioner. I was elected first in 2010, and have served on almost every committee, and have done. I'm trying to think what is to vote always with the taxpayers in mind. No, it's not my money. The money belongs to taxpayers, and try to limit government. We don't need to grow it. We don't need to grow the budget. We don't need to, those things need to diminish. Limited government. Government is good for protect. The main thing is to protect us and to do things that the private sector can't or won't do. Other than that, get out of the way. And that's been my philosophy as county commissioner. Now, that's the first time I ran and was reelected for another term. I think my consistency and as conservative, now that, I have some commissioners that are, we're all, not all, but there are several as conservative as I am. I think one thing that sets me apart from a lot is I'll take time to talk with constituents, mine or out of some other district, it doesn't matter. I want to resolve their problems. I want to be able to serve them and take care of that. This body now is not, they're better than I've seen in the past, where some commissioners would say, well, that's not my district, I don't want to do it. Well, if they call me, if they come see me, or if they stop me in the store, and they've got a question, I want to do what I can do about it. Now, I may, in all likelihood, get with the commissioner for that district and see if there's something that he or she's been working on. Mm-hmm. But I think that my willingness to go that extra step doesn't set me apart from all of them, because there are several on there that do. I think my ability to get along with my customers and the people that work for me. I had at one time about 250 folks that work for me. Not all directly, but try to make it an excellent working environment. In doing so, one company I worked for that when I took over as a middle management, the net sales it's a $1 billion company. It turned out to be, it wasn't at that time, but my division that I was in was selling $3 million. In five years, I had it to $67 million with about an 18% net profit, and grew employment, and the employees wanted to come to work. I think it was because of my leadership and my ability to communicate with them and make sure they were always in the loop and make sure they always felt important, because they were. Leadership. Leadership. We've been some years without leadership at the mayor's office, and the current mayor's a very nice young man, but he's been in over his head and failed to be a leader. And the county mayor has nothing to do with any of the other elected offices, or it to some extent does with the county commission, but he's got to provide the leadership to move things forward, to make it a better working atmosphere in the various buildings and that the mayor can do that with leadership. With my relationships with our state and federal elected officials and their staffs, get a lot of things done, and that eliminates some of the I don't know the right term, but some of the disillusionment in county government, both from the constituents and from county employees. Most every elected official has a pretty tight budget. There's some that use copies that they had, they'll cut them up for scrap paper. There's money that needs to be wasted. I mean, no, there's not money that needs to be wasted. There's money that could be spent a little more wiser. I question why the number of county employees that have cell phones have cell phones. I've always had a personal cell phone and will continue to do so. Now that's not a lot of money, but $100 here and $1,000 there and $5,000 here, and there's I think some excess in some of the departments, and those aren't my responsibility at this point. If I'm mayor, then can work with the other elected officials to see if we can do something on correcting those problems. We've done some good things with saving the county taxpayers money on health insurance, for instance. And the salary benefits meeting I was just at, we changed the way that we did, the county commission changed the way that we did the health insurance to where county employees, in the past, county employees they paid $20 a month and they had no copay. It's 100% paid. Well, they had no responsibility, no personal responsibility. So we changed it 3 years ago to the first $500 out of pocket, and we do an 80-20, and then at a certain point, then a health reimbursement account picks up. And over the last 3 years, each year we've gone from $200,000, this year $300,000 in savings that taxpayers, and that was an excellent thing to do. And there are other things like that we can do. Some of the offices now are starting to utilize debit card scanners, and hopefully I'll be able to push with the other elected officials online payment, that kind of thing. A little bit mixed. State and federal grants are tax money that's been taken from us, gone to the state, gone to Nashville, gone to Washington, D.C. They do their bureaucratic thing to it, and they give a little of it back. I know that the Trump administration and some of the candidates for governor now are talking about eliminating a lot of the bureaucracy and giving block grants. What we have now, there's so many strings tied to those grants. There are tornado shelters scattered around the county. That was the only thing you could spend them on. I don't know that any of them have been used, and I had someone the other day make a comment, if I hear I've got to get to a tornado shelter, there's one less than a mile from me, but by the time I hear it, I can't get to it. That money probably could have been spent better, on some other infrastructure, I like the idea of block grants, their taxes, a lot of folks in government call them revenue. They're not revenue. Taxes are dollars that are taken from us. Revenue is something you earn. Federal government doesn't, state government, county government doesn't earn anything. So for the state, to answer your question, state and federal grants, I'm a proponent of block grants because it's our money and it should come back to us. I hate the fact that it leaves us, in the first place. And hopefully with what we're seeing, hopefully getting some legs, we'll see a lot of that stays here instead of having to write for a grant. And the next best thing would be if that grant doesn't have the strings and you don't have to buy. We've got a grant from Homeland Security to do the shelters were part of it, helipad was part of it, but there was money that could only be spent on an ATV. We didn't need one. And the folks that were in charge of that, their contention was, well, if we don't spend it, we're going to lose it. Well, that's true, but if we don't need it, why spend it? Sure. The first thing I want to do is make sure the citizens have no idea, and if they read the paper on the Monday of the meeting, they see what's on the agenda for that night. I don't know what percentage of the folks read the Hickman County Times. You and I both know that there's, sadly, there's not enough people paying attention to government and what's going on. But want to make sure that those agendas, all those resolutions, the minutes, everything is posted online as soon as they're done, which is usually the Wednesday before the meeting. That's as soon as we can get them because of deadlines set to get, committee minutes in, financial reports in, that kind of thing. So, and we currently have those scanned and sent to us electronically, and then they're mailed for those that don't have email. Well, it's still mailed off, but those should be online in a format, a PDF format, where citizens can see those. They should be able to see our checkbook. We currently have the financial report online every month, but I want the entire thing, because you don't know what, if you don't see it until Monday, then you have no idea what's going to be discussed Monday night. And then you don't have much time to contact your commissioner. So that's part of the communication I want to be out there. Another part of the communication is I do not at this point do any social media, but is to have one of my daughters is a social media guru. She's used it for her business for years, but to set up a communications page, and also for those that do read the Times, do an interview or an article twice a month, or if something comes up, to make sure that it's communicated, it's put out there. And town hall meetings in the various communities is an option that I think if we can get those moving and people attending. I may have to provide some food or something, but out of my pocket to get folks come. One thing I think is I want the people I'll be serving to know that mine will be a Christ-centered job, mayor. I believe that my dad used to say, the good Lord put us here to take care of each other. And Jesus in Mark 12 tells us, when he's asked about the greatest commandments, he tells us that love the Lord your God with all your mind, heart, and soul, and your neighbor as you love yourself. Everything else fall into place. So, that's something I want to, make clear, and that I will be a mayor for every person in this county, man, woman, child, and realize that I work for the citizens of this county. And it's not an office of power, but an office to serve. And I've been in jobs where I tell people do this or that, and pretty much did it. But that's not what this involves. This is serving the folks of this county, and I love this county and the people in it. I haven't had a bad neighbor in the 43 years I've lived here.